Hello and welcome to the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts Matt Sterling and Brandon and Michelle Brooks. We are breaking down anything and everything Utica City. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 18 of the Keeper's Corner podcast. Utica's off this week, so we're going to try to keep this one short. Brandon, Matt, Michelle here. We are joined once again by the FC fanatic, Matt Huber.
Hello.
Utica off, the rest of the league into action. We'll try to wrap around as fast as we can. Saw some cross-country games this week with the Sockers coming out. We saw the Monterey Flash lose their first game of the year. There was a game down in Soles with Mesquite where 21 goals were scored and 19 cards were handed out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but...
What? What? Where?
Next time the penalty cards will win.
I hope so. I had the penalty cards winning this game.
But which game was that? What?
Mesquite and Soles, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm looking at the Eastern.
Oh, well, see how you are? All right. I can't believe that. All right. Okay.
That's impressive.
Yes, that's right there.
Bad, but impressive.
I mean, a fun weekend. A lot of blowout games, a couple close ones. We saw the Sockers just edge Harrisburg. It really was 6-5. A goal slipped in with 1 second left to make it 7-5. Hard-fought game both ways. Sockers lose in Baltimore yesterday. Baltimore comes into Harrisburg today and loses 7-5 or 7-4. Which kind of helps make the standings a little more concrete in the East and shuffle some things up so we're not dealing with the head-to-head.
Is anything concrete this season, though?
Yeah, there's nothing concrete in this league. Nada.
I'd say the top four in the East would beat the top four in the West.
I mean, yeah, the Western Conference is good. I mean, if you were to put like the top team in the West versus the top team in the East and keep going like that, the Eastern Conference would have more wins. I think as of right now, Florida could beat Monterey. I think Harrisburg might be in second now. So San Diego could beat, well, we saw San Diego beat Harrisburg. And then after that, I mean, Milwaukee could beat whoever the third team is, and Utica could beat whoever. I mean, I think top to bottom, the Eastern Conference is better.
Mm-hmm.
But the top two teams in the West are very, very good.
Yeah. In the East, it goes the Tropics, then the Wave, then Utica, then Harrisburg. In the West, it's the Sockers, and then every other team is below 500.
Okay. All right. Nailed it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a difference, I would say. But, padding aside in the Eastern for some teams, there's definitely been some very hard-fought games in the East for sure this season. Some that shouldn't have been hard-fought. And then, with St. Louis last week in Utica, for instance. But, I don't know, it definitely was an exciting week. We had a couple of Rochester games with Milwaukee and Kansas City. Kind of went as expected for both of the games. And then you're looking at, the Florida St. Louis game, Baltimore and San Diego. That one was actually a fun one to watch. I was pleasantly, I enjoyed that one.
Slav got a goal.
Yes, he did.
Slav.
I mean, the outcome of that game doesn't really surprise me. I mean, Baltimore's field, we all know, is very, very small and not a lot of I mean, San Diego, that was their first time there.
Yep.
So I could see them. I saw them losing that game. I mean, that was pretty easy to predict.
Baby Field.
But I think when the two teams meet in San Diego, you're going to see a different outcome.
I hope so.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because it's a bigger field, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you see Baltimore is good on the road, but they're not as good on the road as they are at home. I mean, most teams are like that, but most teams play on a larger size field.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you were to play this game, and they are going to play it in San Diego, I think you saw it tonight. Like they came out and played flat. And I think San Diego is going to avenge that loss. I hope they do, for the sake of the playoff.
Yeah, I guess I could see them. I guess I could see the field. I mean, I don't know. It for me, it's hard to see that, just because, I mean, you know, I understand that, you know, Baltimore has a smaller field than most anyone. But at the same time, it's you know, I'm looking at just the team as a whole. So I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you either, but
Right.
I just don't know how. I don't know if it really has that much of an influence on it. You know, just the size of the field.
So I don't want to cut you guys off here, but joining us now, a little late to the party, but glad to have him. Phil Levanko, Director of Video Production for the Utica Comics and Utica City FC.
What up?
Hey, yo, Phil.
What's up?
How is everybody?
Doing well, yourself?
I'm well. I'm good. I'm unable to sign into my WWE account, which is giving me great stress. But other than that, I'm good.
Which is giving me great stress.
Well, I mean, you're already an hour and a half late to the party, so.
Hey, listen. All right? Sometimes fatherly duties come before royal rumbles, especially now in an era of which I can just start it. And I can pretend like it's live.
Accurate.
That is the world we live in. Do you ever do that with, like, you're not watching one of our games, of course, but like with another team's game, you're watching it live, and all of a sudden you catch yourself, and you're just like, what? Why am I doing this? Like, I can just pause. And then you just sort of go about and pick it up as you go, because nothing's going to get spoiled.
Or if you wait until the end of a game that you were a little bit nervous to watch, and then waiting until you see whether or not we win or lose, and then when we win, you watch the whole thing anyway, because why not? You know the outcome.
It's true.
It's kind of like that Baltimore game that you and Katie went to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Brandon's like, well, he goes, you know what? He goes, I could watch it again. And then we're sitting there watching it, and he goes, I don't know why I'm nervous. I know the outcome. I was like, all right.
Yep. I was a little nervous about how that one was going to turn out, and I'm like, wait, I already know that we win, so yay.
How many times do you guys watch our games? Because I'm
Like,
at least
you
two.
watch them?
Yeah, I'm definitely a rewatcher.
I don't watch start to finish, but I'll usually pick out the highlights and at least watch, you know, around when goals are scored, so I can just see them again and experience them again.
Yeah.
Key events.
I'm sure I'm like you guys, like, I'm learning the sport too. So it's more like, you know, okay, here are the goals. Okay, how did this happen? I want to know the hows more than anything else.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, I just like to watch Obasi juke Nelly and watch Nelly fall on his butt in that Harrisburg game.
Or Obasi just juke anyone.
Yeah, those legs.
Including wet floor signs.
Yes, wet floor signs. Like,
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Well done, sir. Well
Thanks, guys.
done.
This is why I'm on, is to peacock and take my victory.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well deserved.
All right.
Well deserved.
Yes. So what are we talking about?
Kind of doing a little wrap up of around the league, looking at where standings are now that Harrisburg knocked off Baltimore, and there's only one game to play left this week, and We should probably touch on how the Ambush did this weekend since they had games, and they're the ones coming to town on Friday.
All right. Yeah, they did the Florida swing, right? They did the Florida swing and knocked out both of the. They lost in Florida, but they beat Orlando, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
You are correct. Yeah.
It was a close one in Orlando too.
Yep.
Yeah. St. Louis was down for most of that game, but they pulled it out in the end, and I think we didn't see that outcome coming. I thought it was going to be a bigger margin of victory. The next night they got demolished by Florida, but it is Florida, so.
Hey, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're looking at two different things there when you look at Orlando versus Olympics. I mean, that's night and day.
That's not fair.
True, it is not fair. But I think you're going to see.
Now, you want to talk about Florida for half a second? Are you surprised at how quickly everything came together for them?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's funny. I talked to Ricardo Carvalho on another podcast a couple days ago, and he was mentioning he's like, these guys have banded together so quick. We have one common goal. We want to win that championship. Yeah, we may have some like different styles of play, but I mean we're making do with what we have. And yeah, I'm completely surprised about the chemistry they have now.
It was rough early. It was those first Orlando games. I mean, it helps to play Orlando a lot for sure.
Right.
But those early games that were a little rough, I think probably helped them. And then the Baltimore win probably, fortified and sealed that they are not going to fall apart, that they're going to be a team instead of a collection of individuals.
Yeah, and that one loss that they had, they came back. They were down like 5-1 in that game, and they came back to, I think, lose by 1 or 2. So, yeah, Florida, we knew Florida was going to be a good team going into the season. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. And
if it was going to be too late or not to make the playoffs.
Yeah. And I was wrong about Florida. I mean, I knew they were going to make the playoffs, but I didn't think they were going to gel until later in the season.
That's straight off the bat.
Or within a few games of the beginning. I mean, it's they definitely had some growing pains, but they got through them real quick. And next thing you know, they're leading the league.
Well, you say it helps they played Orlando a lot. I mean, I think the same can be said for Harrisburg getting to play Rochester 6 times already. They had a chance to build confidence and find someone to replace Ricardo Carvalho, as well as incorporate the few newer pieces, and it's provided huge dividends for them.
Yeah, I mean, the play of Dominic Francis for Harrisburg is just incredible. He's 21, 22 goals now, and Tavoy Morgan is back. He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year last season. You could have made a case for Rookie of the Year for him, but he's back. He's a big-bodied forward, and he scored 3 goals tonight, helping beat Harrisburg beat Baltimore.
JJ's back.
So yeah, Harrisburg is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I mean, as I've said before, these games between Harrisburg and Baltimore are huge.
Yeah.
It was such a massive win for them today for the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Did you guys go over the playoffs yet? The scenarios?
Not quite yet.
Sorry, I'm now producing the show for you. I'm going to stop.
All right.
That's fine.
I'm the host now. I'm just a guest now. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to try to load up some Rumble. Matt, just tell me when you're coming to me.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get you in.
I'm now producing the show for you.
To be fair, he does have the most credentials for this out of anyone here.
Yeah, that is accurate.
Might as well just let him do it.
No. It's Sunday night. It's Sunday night. It's the Lord's Day.
Just hand over the keys.
The keys?
The keys.
Oh, I thought
Yes, I just kind of wanted to touch. We brought up St. Louis and how they did on this road trip. And I think one thing that should be pointed out for the teams this weekend that all played back-to-backs, they lost the second of that back-to-back. St. Louis played back-to-back. They lost game 2. Actually, I think Florida had back-to-backs, but Florida didn't play today. Baltimore had back-to-backs.
Rochester lost both of their back-to-back.
Well,
are we shocked?
That's an exception.
Rochester's a special case right now. 13 rookies, 16 people on game day. And they're gonna be a work in progress for a while.
They're trying.
But it shows the importance of rest.
Very accurate.
I mean, that's why having 2 goalkeepers in this league is huge. Which is why, in order for St. Louis to be successful, they need to have a good backup keeper and not just Paulo.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that always, it was really surprising to me when it's just like, they had, they didn't have that backup. That just blew my mind that, you don't have a backup keeper when, something like what happened, what was it, last weekend with
Paulo when he got wailed in the head.
Yeah, and I mean, now you are basically playing your 6th attacker as your goalkeeper, and, that was a huge opportunity for you to capitalize on.
I thought St. Louis did have a second goalkeeper.
They were not suited up on game day.
Okay.
So they weren't on the game day roster, but they do have one. They just chose not to use them.
Correct. Because they had one of their goalkeepers played against Orlando, and then Paulo played against Florida the next night.
Okay.
Which is something that we do too. I mean, if you'll see Matt for home games won't be dressed. You can only dress X amount of players, and Matt will be on the bench in a quarter zip. That's something that Ryan has done as well.
Yeah. So it's one of those where having 2 keepers is very, very important, especially with rest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because, I mean, Andrew still did great last year, but who was his backup? Christian?
It was Christian
Espero.
Marcelo Morera.
But last year, you could tell it took a lot out of Andrew to do every game.
Yeah, he's been like that for a good 3 or 4 years. He played every single game for like the last couple of years in Syracuse. After he replaced Brian O'Quinn, and I mean he did it last year too. So it's good. It's good to see Matt Perella as his backup, so he can get that rest and he can stay fresh for the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah,
and shout out to Matt too. I thought he played very well on Friday. I know Ryan did as well. And talking to him, he made some great stops. The loss was not necessarily Matt's fault. So yeah, for sure. So no, Matt played well, and I think you're to Andrew's point too. I mean, you're diving around on turf. It takes a toll on you.
Mm-hmm. So here's a kind of weird stat that I found looking around through the numbers. In the 2 games that Utica played St. Louis and they ended up down, we know they stayed honest there for the 4th quarter, and just in the first game Friday night, St. Louis had 18 shots in the 4th quarter.
It was 18-4, right?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, 18-4.
Sunday's game, St. Louis had 22 shots in the 4th quarter. And I don't know if it's just different official goalkeeping, or they just weren't tracking shots. I think they just weren't tracking shots, because when you go to the box score from Saturday's game that they played against the Tropics, they had one shot all game and only one goal. And then Florida had 7 shots and 7 goals, which is either the craziest anomaly or someone wasn't tracking shots correctly.
We'll just go with the craziest anomaly, Matt. Okay?
It's the craziest thing ever.
Ever.
I don't know about the craziest thing ever. I mean, definitely up there, but I don't know if it's the craziest thing ever.
All right, but okay, so
I
one
don't know.
shot total.
That landing was stuck. We should probably the craziest thing ever, and we should just move on.
Yeah.
She nailed it. She stuck that landing.
So they had 0 shots in the fourth quarter, and the 2 goals that Florida had in the fourth quarter came at even strength. So I didn't watch that game. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it. Matt, did they use the 6th attacker nearly as much as they did against Utica?
I too didn't really watch the game. I watched Ricardo's goal, and that was about it.
All right, so we're in the dark on that. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, I'll do some research. I'll watch some video. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, because that's what they did last season too. If you remember, Utica was up 8-1 in the fourth quarter, and they went.
I got the box score up right now, Maddie. I'm staring at it. You're 100% right.
Yeah, weird.
The only thing I can see is that at 8 minutes and 31 seconds in the fourth quarter, they pulled Paulo.
Yeah, Alex Duarte. No, that's a blue card. My bad.
Yeah, I don't see anyone else. I don't see any other time when they, or at least by the play-by-play, where they pulled their goalie for the 6th attacker. So it looks like in the Tropics game, they didn't. I don't see any time when they used the 6th attacker other than 8:31 remaining, or 8:31 in, and the 4th.
Carvalho's goal was a 6th attacker goal, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
Because 7 seconds. 7 seconds after they pulled their goalie, that's when Carvalho scored.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the bookkeeping wasn't done correctly then, because according to the scoring summary, Carvalho's was at even strength.
I did see that says even strength, but, well, technically that is even strength. Just because it's a 6th attacker, it's still the same number of men in the field.
Okay, yeah, now I see it. I had to scroll to the right on my phone. Yeah, it says versus 6 attackers, so. I don't know. Maybe just a better defense out of Florida, but I'm going to chalk it up to a weird bookkeeping error because there's both teams to shoot 100% seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's... Because I'm taking a look back through our game to see when they pulled Paulo, and I'm not...
Pulled goalie.
Pull goalie. Yep.
You're going to tell me both teams had 0 saves? It's
just weird bookkeeping because, like,
the goalies just kind of stood there and just let them score.
Yeah.
And then just nobody else shot. They'd all just kind of played with it for the rest.
There were 0 block shots, so...
It's like cats with a ball of yarn, laid there.
They just sent cats out on the field and just batted the ball around.
This escalated quickly.
All right. So looking ahead, Friday night, St. Louis. I'm sure we're expecting another outcome, more the matchup last Sunday. What are you guys' predictions?
Things are gonna get weird.
Okay, and this is where my stop is. So...
Oh yeah, that was not.
That was wonderful. That was great.
Wonderful.
I don't know. That was good.
I don't know how wonderful.
Oh my land.
What is Matt doing over there?
Using the tagline. Come on.
It's one thing to use the tagline. It's another thing to watch you slowly approach the camera and then just face filling my entire screen go, things are gonna get weird.
Bill, are you glad you're here?
Why is that?
This is what they talk about all the time. It gets weird.
It does get weird.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
I like it. I don't know what you're saying. This is great. I mean, I hope things don't get weird for my sake, for sure. I'd imagine that playing a team for the third time in 2 weeks, would lead to a bit of a tighter game. But at the same time, Utica for what 7 of the 8 quarters handled St. Louis pretty well. So hoping for more of the same, really.
I want to see another blowout. Well, more of a blowout. I want to see like a 7-goal differential. I want to see some. I want to see us make up for that first game when it should have been, 11 or 8-1 or something compared to where it ended up being.
Brandon wants to see people cry, basically.
To be fair,
Sounds
though,
like
to be fair to Brandon, we haven't boat raced a team yet at home like we did last year. We had a couple games where, it was done and dusted pretty quick, and all that was left was, the stat packing. We haven't really had that this year. No one has come really to play us at the Adirondack Bank Center. Everyone's sort of doing the sit back and counter thing, waiting for Utica to sort of make a mistake, and it's gotten a little sloppy, to say the least. But I'm hoping that maybe St. Louis will come in and try to play a little bit, and I'm hoping that we see more of the same from those 7 quarters in St. Louis, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely not complain if it was another outcome like the second game, because that's really what the first one should have been with how the first 3 quarters had gone. I mean, I would not complain if it was another, 10-5, 11-5, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like the team, especially at home, kind of has something to prove after that Friday game. I mean, that was just such a disappointment.
Yeah, it was a shame. I would also like to see, I'll put it in a simpler term than yours, a Rochester scoreline.
Yeah.
No offense to Rochester, but I want to see a team that maybe hangs around in the first half and then just is finished in the second.
I mean, they're coming the weekend after, so.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I kind of want to see a blowout, which would be great, but I kind of want to see the guys do better in special teams. I mean, as of right now, Utica is either last or next to last in power play.
2 for 10.
They're towards the bottom in the penalty kill as well. So I think a key would be special teams. And if they improve on that, I would be happy with that. And of course, if they won the game, but they've got to work on that power play and penalty kill, I think.
Yes.
Well, I think a win is, the least of the checklist. That's the win needs to happen, and then the style points on top of that, like
right.
You say, Matt, with working on the power play and the penalty kill and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of touched on that on our last episode. I know Brandon said, they just don't take the chances offensively on the power play. They kind of poke and prod around, a lot like a Syracuse Orange offense tends to just pass it around the arc and not get inside that often, and then take a shot when they think they have one that might not be there.
Well, it's new players in that power play too. New players, system. Not necessarily a new system, but sort of new players. I mean, Slav's not there to run the point anymore. Joey's not there on the back post anymore. So new players and new roles, and I can tell you that that they are it shouldn't be this bad, but it's sort of an adjustment period, and I know for a fact that it's a point of emphasis for Ryan and the rest of the coaching staff to try to fix that power play.
I thought I lost these. They're making a comeback at the next game.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Those are amazing.
Yeah.
Poor Matt.
It's. I don't know if you're talking about me or Huber.
Both.
Wait, what did I miss?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if he's doing the whole camera thing.
Who?
You.
No!
No, I'm not doing the camera
Not a
thing.
bad idea.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, we expect to win. We've done our sleuth work, so it hasn't been officially announced. We won't say anything, but player social media is a great thing to follow.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Look for Utica to add a player here in the next week or so.
Do we have any word on Zuniga yet, or is he still inactive until basically Coach Hall tells us otherwise?
I'm gonna wrap that up as a visa thing and wait, and just keep checking the website every day, waiting for him to get moved to active. Because in my
We
dreams,
can use him.
I should have picked MasterCard.
Bye.
all right, Michelle's done apparently.
No.
Sorry. As things fall apart.
Owie.
No, I think it's going to be, like I said, as far as Friday goes, I'm still expecting Utica to come out of it on top. Regardless how much it's going to be, we know that St. Louis is going to come at us hard in the fourth quarter. That's just a given.
Yeah.
And as long as Utica's prepared for that, that's the key thing. I don't think that they were prepared, as I've said before, to be against the sixth attacker for a quarter. Not just spurts here and there. Going at it, having to deal with a sixth attacker, having to deal with 6 bodies rather than 5 coming at them for that much time. I mean, it just wears them down quick. And given that they weren't used to that, given that no other team had really done that for that extended amount of time, it threw them for a loop in the first game, and so they gave up as many goals as they did. Now,
And Ricardo got hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, Ricardo getting hurt.
got
from
hurt,
home.
They were short too.
which then, of course, threw off their line changes, threw off the synergies between the different line change, or at least one of the line changes anyway. So it definitely it changed things up, and it caused a lot of problems. Sunday, we didn't see that as much, and we saw them be able to compensate for the 6-5 player differential, and be able to survive that and handle it properly, and of course come out with a 6 goal differential in the end.
6.
Yeah, it was
So, I mean, do I expect us to get double digits? No. Maybe. It's possible. We did last time. However, I would like to see them keep St. Louis, under 5. I'd love to see them 3 goals. If they allow them 3, that's fine. That's acceptable. But anything over 5 is just no.
I kind of like what Sterling said about the podcast in between Friday and Sunday. Put your foot on the gas, put your foot on their throat, and just watch the hope drain from their eyes. It's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, once a team knows they can hang with you, they're gonna try to hang with you no matter what.
Yep.
Until you prove them otherwise. So we're all expecting a win Friday then.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
I got a few stats here I thought I'd throw out for interest. They'll be more in depth for the mid-season episode after we get to our 12th game. But I thought it would be interesting to know our record by quarter, because this is something we always talk about.
Yep.
First quarter, 7 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. Second, 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. I'm going to
Ooh.
skip the third and come back to it.
Oh God, no.
Fourth quarter, 8 wins, no ties, 2 losses.
So Matt, you're just doing just a matchup. So the first quarter, we've won the quarter.
Yeah. How
Okay.
many times we win that quarter?
Okay.
So, yeah. The third quarter, the one that we have harped on and hoped was getting better, and 3 wins, 4 ties, 3 losses.
3-4-3.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as I thought it was
I
going
would
to
have
be.
expected it to be. It's still pretty bad. I mean, a tie's acceptable. Wins are better, and then losses. So, I mean, that's really not as bad as I thought it was. I think if you looked at it earlier in the season, it would have been more losses and probably more losses and ties than anything. It's only been recently that we've been taking that third quarter, I feel, and been getting better. Been getting better at it. I think at least one of them in St. Louis, we took the third quarter.
The last game we played, I feel.
So I mean, I think it's definitely been a change over the past few games that we have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. Maybe somebody out there is listening and realize, hey, the third quarter is not very good for us. People are noticing.
Yeah, and if we're noticing, you got to know that the other teams are noticing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it looks like this last game against St. Louis is when we actually we kind of broke out of our normal slump. Because we scored 2 goals and we only kept St. Louis to 1.
So you said we just correct me if I'm wrong. You said we had 3 wins in the third.
Yes.
Definitely not that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we took that 2 of those were against St. Louis.
Yes,
recently.
both of those were against St. Louis.
I can tell you one of the losses is against Harrisburg.
Yeah, that last home game where they scored 5 unanswered.
They were answered at some point. They just weren't answered in the third.
Yeah, they were answered in the fourth where we got that 8-2.
Okay, so I just looked it up, and our 3 wins in the third quarter are St. Louis and Rochester.
Yeah.
We have lost every other third quarter or tied to Harrisburg or Baltimore. Which those are the only we've only played 4 teams. I feel like more than that. But then again, we were back to back with Baltimore, Harrisburg, Baltimore, Harrisburg. So I guess I just didn't realize we've only played that few teams.
Well, we were supposed to have Canada somewhere in there, but
Yeah, we would have
This weekend was supposed to be the Canada trip.
Yep.
To whatever province or town in Ontario the road show was going. I just want to say I'll take the. Say that again, Maddie.
Windsor.
Windsor, yes.
Yeah.
Mighty Windsor Palladium or wherever they played.
Yeah, because we were looking at getting enhanced license and going up, and then like, we're gonna ship them out towards Detroit.
we were like, yeah, no.
No.
I will take the, and I don't want to. I mean, the stats Maddie's stats are overwhelming. They're pretty inarguable, but I'll give it my best shot to argue them. That they do have a little bit of game state there involved. I mean, there's no question the goal difference is alarming, but to have a goal difference that bad, you're in the lead at half.
Yeah.
So while it's not, it's still an eyesore, and I don't want to discredit that at all. I do want to just sort of submit a bit of game state in there that when you are winning, it's only human nature to take your foot off the gas a little bit and allow them in. Then in the fourth quarter, obviously, there's been a lot of these, 6 attacker on, and Utica will sort of put the pedal to the metal again, play really good defense, and then run them a little bit, with those 6 attacker goals. Happened a lot last year too.
Right. If you want to get into it a little more, first quarter our plus minus is +8. Second quarter's +9. Fourth quarter +6, and then the third quarter is the only negative one at -1. So it's not that bad.
And that's, and I think, and it was last year's is, I'm sure, Matt, you would say it's pretty similar too. I think I remember you tweeting about this last year as well.
Yeah, I had
the third quarter.
Put all that together just before the playoffs, and this year I'm keeping up on it game by game, so I don't have to compile 24 games at once.
Yeah, so I that's, it's a little bit of game state in there too, being up by so much sort of allows a team back in it. But it's still I loved your quote from the last podcast about sort of squeezing the life out of a team and making sure that they don't want to come back at all. Like that's a great quote. It really is, and I'm hoping that happens on Friday as well, so we can party a little bit.
Best time of the week to party is Friday night.
Oh yeah, big night out. Have you seen the schedule for the early part of February between us and the teams ahead of us too? We're hitting crunch time here with the schedule.
I haven't really looked outside of Utica to see who they're playing besides like a general lineup to see strength of schedule. But I know we've got a fairly
favorable
one.
Let's say favorable.
Yeah, let's say favorable.
Yeah. So before our siesta to Sonora at the last weekend of February, it's Rochester 3 times, a Dallas Mesquite trip, which Huber is going to be going on, and then this St. Louis game. The Wave, who are ahead of us in second place in that same span, have to play San Diego. They get Kansas City a couple times, and they play Florida. So then flipping through to Florida's schedule, they get San Diego as well, and they play Rochester, and they do the Dallas Mesquite trip next weekend as well. So I think when we talk this time next month, there's a good chance that maybe the schedule or the standings do a little bit of shuffling, which hopefully means the power rankings do a little bit of shuffling as well. But I digress.
Banana pants.
What is the point of power rankings if nothing moves? That's not fun. Power rankings are supposed to be fun. Move some teams around. Teams win, teams lose. Drop a point, move a point. Come on.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong. This is silly. And how does Milwaukee stay in the second spot just because they won last year? What does that mean for power rankings? That's last year's power rankings. We're on this year's power rankings. Move some teams. Sorry.
I will say that we are not involved with the power rankings, but...
No, I just had a platform. Sorry.
No, please. I think we all take a look at those and kind of go, yeah, there's another name for Utica with playing off the FC, and
don't even get me started on that. That drives me insane. Oh, it drives me batty. It's a joke that's not funny and is a bit sort of it undercuts our team name. You wouldn't do that with any other team, We're not making fun of the Lancers and having a bunch of horse jokes,
Mm-hmm.
Man, who riled me up? Who is that? Is that you, Huber?
What?
Riling me up like that?
No, why would I rile you up?
I don't know. Who set me off? What was that?
I didn't do it.
I blame Sterling.
Yeah, let's blame the other man.
Yeah,
I'll take responsibility. I do enough shenanigans.
So this month's gonna be fun. I think this month's gonna be fun because the teams ahead of us too, they got to play some games as well, and I think the standings might look a little bit different when the calendar turns to March.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to strength of schedule, the teams ahead of us right now, they've got some work to do. Baltimore, like we've said, they play San Diego. They're going to have to play Harrisburg some more. I mean, yeah, they're gonna play Rochester too, but yeah, Milwaukee's got Florida a few times. So I mean, all of these teams are going to beat up on each other. Meanwhile, Utica's schedule is, for the most part, pretty easy or favorable.
Favorable. Let's say favorable.
That's it. Favorable.
I like favorable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I favorable. There should be some W's in there for us. It's hard to play teams back to back on the road, like the Dallas Mesquite. I think Mesquite, watching them too, they've been a bit tricky if you don't bring your A game,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And it's just hard. It's hard to be on the road like that.
I mean, you look ahead, and as the standings are right now, Utica has 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 games out of the next 12 are against playoff teams.
Yeah.
As the standings are now. 2 of those games are Soles, which are a playoff team at a 5-7 record.
In name only.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But that's a international trip. So I just lost my microphone. That's an international trip. So I'm always a bit conservative with those. If you come out 1-1 and nobody gets, Montezuma's revenge, I think it's a positive trip.
So, were you about to say something, Michelle?
No.
I have a fun question that I'm going to pose to the group, and I'm interested to see the answers here. Given their, I'll call it tough season thus far, if Rochester happens to get a win this season, who's going to beat?
Orlando.
It's a good question. I like this one.
Yeah, I got to put my money on Orlando. They've sold every player that they have that has experience, more or less, and
Okay.
I gotta look at the schedule here.
yeah, let's go to the schedule. Let's see. They got the Blast, the Ambush, the Blast, Utica, the Tropics, the Utica, the Blast, Utica, the Blast, Tropics, Comet. Oh, so yeah, they might win their last game of the year against the Seawolves.
Yeah, I was noticing that was the very last game, and that was the one that I was thinking as well, was that, their Orlando game would be their best bet on paper to get a W.
Are you guys going to the game in February? Are we driving up to the game in February to Rochester?
Oh, I'm absolutely going. I just got to pick a section again.
So that is going to be my first, because as you know, I don't get to watch a lot of the games as a fan. I mean, so this is going to be my first, it's my first away day, which I'm excited for, but also, watching them live purely as a fan, which I am loading up the family, and I'm dragging everybody to the Rochester Laser Light Show, and I am beyond excited for that one.
Oh yeah, it's a great arena. Sam does a great job. Yeah, I'm super excited for that game. I gotta tell you, I have Rochester winning a game, and it's not who you think. I think they're gonna beat St. Louis in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? Or is it
Wow.
Oh,
Is St. Louis the first?
it's a week.
Okay.
Huber's heat-seeking takes.
I have not made this prediction public until now. I think Rochester gets their first win at home against St. Louis.
Well, you heard it here, folks, and MASL Off the Wall is going to just have to wait for the spoiler unless they listen to the podcast.
That's true.
Which they should do. Listen to the podcast Off the Wall.
That's right.
Yeah.
They'd have to listen to the podcast to hear you tell them listen to the podcast.
Accurate.
Listen to the podcast. Well, they're going to listen now because I took down the power rankings.
I'm sure Sid's gonna have a field day with that.
Yep.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm fine with all of this. I'm a big boy. That's a good one. Huber's heat-seeking takes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want him. You want him to win a game, for the league. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be that Orlando one as well.
To be fair, I was actually curious to see if it was going to be Orlando or St. Louis. I mean, those were the two that I was seeing as chances. Obviously, there's always a chance, but everyone at full strength, those were the two that I was looking at as being, their best shot. And so I'm pleased to see that I wasn't the only one seeing that.
Yeah, I guess that actually would be this coming Saturday, and they're gonna come out of playing Utica that Friday night. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, and with Rochester, I mean, they were in that game for the most part against Milwaukee. I mean, they had a bad fourth quarter. And they showed promise in the game against Kansas City today. If they get a solid 4 quarters together, they can definitely beat a team that is on a end of a back-to-back.
All right. Anything anyone else has to say? Otherwise, we'll kind of wrap this up.
Well, here's the thing. We've got Phil on here, and
we do.
I've got to ask him where all of these ideas come from for the commercials.
Where do all the ideas come from? The staff.
Yeah.
I would like to take credit for all of it, but I can only take credit for like 85% of it.
Okay, well that's fine. That's better than 0%.
There is nothing that I want more than to take credit for all of it. But it is the staff. We sort of gather around and we have basis of ideas that we like. And the Obasi one was a combination of me and Chuck, our director, Game Ops, coming through, and he adds to it because he's got a sharp sense of humor. Joe, who is the radio guy for the Comets and unofficial mascot of Utica City FC, he's got a great sense of humor as well. The idea sort of we fell into by accident because I don't know if you guys remembered, our first idea was to sort of pick fights with teams. We did stomping on the Milwaukee can, and I had Logan and Andrew trying to, draw a sea wolf like a bunch of 7th graders, It
was wonderful.
Oh, it was great, wasn't it? Yeah, it was funny. But we sort of fell in backwards to it, and Andrew Coughlin, sort of the godfather of these commercials, came in, and we had the idea to, kind of parody This Is Sports Center for This Is Utica City, and it sort of took off, and they're really, really funny. I think the highlight for me is when you guys posted in Off the Wall, and everyone just gets mad because. Anyone can do this. They're just Sports Center commercials. Yeah, good luck trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyone can do it, but no one else is.
Well, that's the thing. Michelle, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say because Baltimore all of a sudden last year they didn't have a drum. They're talking about how cutting edge their hype video was, and then all of a sudden our stuff changes this year, and they're scrambling, and now all of a sudden they have a drum. I'm like, what?
I saw that in the first game, and I was like, well, that drum looks familiar.
Yeah.
I think it's good for the league. I think that, putting some value behind a little bit of in-game production and, social media and stuff like that, you kind of, you challenge everybody to step up their games. And it's great. I love the fact that that Baltimore's a hype video now, and the Wave did a hype video, and Tacoma's production is great too. They have a great video department as well. It's that's what you want. You want it. This is professional sports. You should treat it like it.
Yep, I completely agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why the power ranking should move. Get on that, turf and boards.
I still have to admit my favorite video has to be the recycling video for Utica.
Oh, with the team celebration?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too. My favorite is the Brazilians. And
Yes.
the reason that one is mine. I can 100% take credit for that one. But it's a little shout out to my hometown, which I like doing as well. And 3 cheers to Utica too for not taking it so seriously.
That's true.
It was very funny when we were doing that. Mauricio said, he's like, is everyone going to be upset that we don't, that we're making fun of their city? And I looked at him and I was like, did you know where Utica was before this? And he said, no. And I said, exactly.
Yeah, no one knows.
We'll be fine.
They don't call it the city God forgot without reason.
Accurate.
I wish I was making that up.
I'm not saying this just because he's on the show, but my favorite as of right now has to be him and Joey Tavernisi.
That one was so Joey, when I met Joey, we're both from Queens. We're Queens kids, both of us, right? Which is probably why we get along so well. He was moody and did not want to help me out at all with any of this. He didn't want to be interviewed. He didn't want to do TV, social media, any of this stuff. And as we started doing the commercials, he slowly sort of realized that all we were doing was just trying to put butts in seats and help them out. And now he and I text frequently, and I never let him forget that he was miserable to start the season last year.
Not surprised.
Ever.
That's hilarious. Oh, Joey. Yeah, so I just thought that was kind of interesting to find out what happens to get the commercials, and if it's like a collaborative or if it's just kind of like Bill coming up with something crazy off the top of his head.
All a little column A, a little column B, for sure.
There you go.
We sit there and we try to think of ideas, and some are good, some are really bad. Sometimes when we're making it, it's not the greatest, and we're like, I don't know how this one's going to turn out. And sometimes they turn out okay, and sometimes, not everyone's a home run. There's a couple solid singles in there for sure. But they're fun. They're fun to do, and credit to the guys because they when we did the Night at the Roxbury one for After Dark this year, and I went up to Momo, and I said I want him in a commercial, and he said, "Are you going to make me look like an idiot?" And I said, "Probably." And he said, "Yeah, sure, let's go," and it's great. It's great for sure. So what are we going to do? We're going to do some scores. We're going to do some predictions. We're going to keep tabs of the predictions.
Tabsies.
Who's going to be the leading scorer? Let's do that. Let's do score and leading scorer for Friday night's game.
Bill's running the show, guys. So let's do that.
We got to end it. We got to end it with something, right? We got to end it with something.
We do tend to throw out our predictions, and then we don't want to bring them up unless we get them right.
Or do we want to do the Royal Rumble stuff? Which was great, and I asked
Let's
everybody.
do the Royal Rumble since it's the Royal Rumble tonight.
Okay.
All right.
So let's pose the question, right? Since tonight is the Royal Rumble, if UCFC had a Royal Rumble, the entire roster, who would win? But more importantly, and this is the curveball, who is the first eliminated?
Okay. So now here's the thing.
Okay.
Who who would be number one? Because it's based off of what, 1 to 30?
1 to 30, yes.
The Rumble first, because usually the person that enters first wins, right?
Well,
Not always.
All right. This is a curveball, and Hubert, thanks for that. Let's just start them all in the ring at one time.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about like a battle royale
Yes.
rather than a rumble.
We're gonna battle royale.
Okay.
I guess we should say, for anyone wondering where this idea came from, the City Keepers have had their own group chat going for a while, and Phil and the Utica City Football Club, as well as Utica College play-by-play voice, Ray Biggs, have found their way into this conversation, and it is all sorts of ridiculous, and this was first posed there.
That's my
And by
fault.
the way, it wasn't their choice to come into the chat. They just got thrown into it.
So I'll go first, right? Since this is my idea.
Sure. You have the floor.
My winner is Bo. Right? I think he outlasts the rest of the team. I've seen that man do more pull-ups than I can count. So he's my winner. And my first eliminated is Ben Raymond. I think he's the first to go over.
I
Okay.
can see that. I can see that.
I guess I'll go next. So mine still has not changed. My overall winner would have to be Schindler. That boy is just a tank. He's a linebacker. And I see him, taking it. First eliminated. Boy, it's really tough. And I think I'm probably going to take this pick from Huber, but I'm going to have to say Vitali. I'd have to say he'd be the first one over just because, he's, I don't know. I don't really have a reason.
He's probably well dressed. Doesn't want to get anything ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Just climbs out over the top.
I'm
And just
done.
says, I'm done.
I'm out, guys.
This isn't for me.
Huber.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with Phil on this one. I think Bo would win. Without a doubt. I mean, Schindler's going to be in the Final Four. I think first eliminated. Jeez. I don't know. I mean, that would be a tough one. I would probably say, yeah, it would be Ben, I think. I think it'd be Ben.
Poor Ben.
Poor Ben.
Everyone's beating up on Ben.
Poor
We have
Ben.
nothing but the best to say about him.
He's
Michelle,
just
you want to go
not,
next?
he's just not battle royal material, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Phil already went. So it's between...
No, he said he told me to go.
Michelle.
No, I'm going to have to go with Jake winning. Because it's Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Good
And
choice.
I hate to say it, because my first eliminated would have to be Tim.
I knew it. I knew it. That was my second pick. I loved him.
I love him to death.
Love him to death.
Poor Tim.
But I saw, he was my second behind Vitali.
No. He would try to intimidate his opponent with the "Wah," and then they would just take him right off the top.
Someone's sweeping that leg.
I'm going to disagree. I think Tim would be one of those, if he was in the Rumble, he would probably he wouldn't go over the top rope.
He'd go under.
Like the middle ropes, and then just hang out underneath the ring until everyone gets eliminated, and then he'd show up and be like, "Yeah,
But
I win."
do you see? Do you honestly know who I could see doing that? Christian.
Oh, see, I was gonna say
Because
Darren. I was gonna say Darren would definitely hang out in off and
Yep.
just sort of do the move where he's sleeping for 10 minutes.
I was gonna say Christian's gonna be the Rey Mysterio
Yeah,
of the whole thing.
Exactly.
He's gonna be the high flyer, pulling off the 619.
All of a sudden, WWE copyrights us.
See, I had Nate high flying.
Okay.
I see Nate high flying, little freakishly athletic backflips, doing the acrobatic saves. I think that's Nate.
Oh, yeah. Or I could see Coughlin doing that just without the backflips.
Oh, for sure. Andrew definitely. I can see him. I can see him having a long run.
We're still waiting on one more prediction.
All right.
Come on, Matt.
I'm going to stick with my dark horse candidate because technically he's on the team. He is on the active roster and he's been there all season. That's Mauricio Salas.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I could see that too.
Sure, he's up there in age. He'll be 42 in March.
Way to throw age into it.
He is in shape, though, for his age. I mean,
Didn't
we all know
Hogan
his goal.
when he was like 65?
What?
I'm just throwing that out there.
We all know his goal scoring celebration. So he can.
If you've been following on Instagram too.
He's back in the snow-filled lands.
He's been
Yes,
working
he's
out.
in the snow.
And he has been working out. Yeah, I've seen some of his gym clips or just training on a small field.
I tend to
The guy's
watch them
ready to
while
go.
I'm shoveling food in my face. It's fantastic.
My first out, I think I'm going to surprise everyone, and it's going to be Logan.
No!
Yes. Hear me out.
No!
Because he's Superman and he's just going to fly out of the ring.
I was going to say, he's probably going to hit someone to the mat, and then, it's typical to taunt before you pin. So he's going to stand there to taunt and do the Superman pose and just get blindsided.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think he knows Rumble very well because there's no pin.
Yeah, you don't pin
no.
people in the Rumble.
Do you know what I know about WWE? Absolutely nothing.
No, he's gonna. I can see.
Macho Man was involved at one point.
He's gonna slam somebody to the mat. He's gonna taunt, and then Andrew Coughlin's gonna crawl out of nowhere and just blindside him.
No, Tim Goldman takes him over the top, bows.
With the
Super
crane
kick.
kick.
Throws him over.
And then bows, yeah.
Now, let me just throw in a monkey wrench into all this.
No.
So, looking at the team, so far we've just been involving the team. Does adding coach to the mix add anything? Does that change anything?
We thought about this. I posed a question to Ryan Hall. This is a great question, and I've thought about this at great length. I cannot. So the other guys are in a bit more shape. I think he's got the mentality. I think he's got that Hulk up sort of, the mist, the seeing the red mist. But I think in the end, I think stamina sort of causes him to be eliminated before the final four.
All right.
I'm gonna just throw a monkey wrench into that. I could see him
gosh.
being another one of those that crawls underneath the ring and just chills for a little bit
Game plan.
with a beer. Like he's just out there.
Just makes it look like he goes out, but really he's just sitting at the announce table, just watching the whole thing, just waiting. See, he would know that he was, not exactly as fit as some of these other guys, so he would have to play smart.
See, I think he would get involved. You get involved too quickly, and I think after about 10 minutes in the ring, the oxygen levels get low, and I think that's when he sees his demise. Probably one of those sort of try a move, doesn't really come off, and then he gets tossed.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see
And one of
that.
the ones on the side too, you don't really see right away. You have to catch it, and the camera cuts real quick. One of those. Sure. Now, Bo's problem is the gang up.
Yeah, everyone's going to want to gang up on him.
Bo's problem is certainly the gang up, for sure.
All right, so I think we've settled the Royal Rumble. Phil, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Always.
We'll try to get you and Ray on here in the future at the same time and just watch chaos ensue.
Well, no, Razor is a talker for a living, and I am known to like to hear myself talk. So I would be afraid for everyone else on the podcast. Maybe that's not the greatest of ideas.
I think we should throw a tripod into that mix one day and have Coach on. Watch what happens there.
Oh.
Yeah, we just have a mogul to get over for that one.
You got me. It's fine. I'll make it
Yeah.
happen.
There you go. He'll make it happen.
I'll make it happen.
For anyone that's been listening and following the podcast, we did our poster auction this past week. I think it was a great success. Brandon, I mean, you saw the total, about just shy of $450 raised for charity.
I actually think it ended up being, it was roughly about $450.
Well, once you take the rest of that gets thrown in as your shipping costs, and we do have a few to ship. And
yeah, I think with the shipping costs, it ended up actually being like $490 or something like that. But the actual money raised was about $450. So it was definitely a good turnout. It's all going to go to a great place. So definitely very pleased with how that came out.
yeah, we'll add that into the Fire Relief Fund, which after the benefit Saturday night, I think totaled $41,000 or $42,000 between the GoFundMe and the benefit.
Yep.
So Boonville's on its way back, hopefully. And we thank everyone. Winners, congratulations. They'll be in the mail this week. If you chose pickup, we are section 212, row A. Should be there just after doors open, as long as dinner at 72 doesn't run late. Matt, I have your 3 set aside. Don't worry.
And as somebody who
Okay.
works for the team, Matt and you guys, on behalf of the team, what you guys did was incredible. So that was a really great thing, and happy to be and happy to see that you were able to raise a nice chunk of change.
Well, thank you, Phil.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you, Phil.
I believe that is everything for everyone. So, Friday, 7 o'clock, Adirondack Bank Center. Be there. It's going to be a riot. Ambush's first time coming to town. We'll be there. It gets weird after dark. Trust it. Matt has his other podcast, Off the Volley. He also does his live show in the MASL Off the Wall group, which varies what night it's going to be on. Matt, do you have a time picked out for this week?
It is probably going to be Tuesday, I'm going to guess. I don't know when On the Volley's going to be this week. We have to get our guests lined up. So we might do 2 episodes of that. And then I'm guessing mine is going to be Tuesday night.
All right. Otherwise, I just want to apologize because we said let's try to keep this short, and now it's going to be, I believe, our longest episode ever.
My bad.
So I lied up front. My bad.
Bobby.
Follow us on.
Why do we blame the producer?
Nah, y'all, I'm a guest. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, now his title has changed. Now he is guest. Okay. All right.
Maybe he's like an executive producer, you know.
Coming
it's
after me, Huber, huh?
Nope.
You saw what I did to the power rankings.
Banana pan.
Oh my lord. So make sure you're following us on Facebook and Twitter. We have a TeePublic store. Their sale just ended today. New designs going up every week, and I'm trying to step my game up with each piece, as well as redesigning all of the posters, because those posters are going to be one of a kind. That design will not hit print again. That is my goal. Until next time, then. Thank you, Phil and Matt, for joining us. I'm Matt Sterling.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Michelle.
See you all Friday night.